Okay, so maybe you're thinking about getting a kitchen scale. They can be really useful for a lot of things.
Yeah, for sure.
And we're going to take a deep dive today into this Amazon product page for the Etekcity Food Kitchen Scale.
Okay.
And I think you might be surprised by what we can learn about you, the modern consumer, just by looking at this one single page.
Absolutely. It's like a perfect snapshot of all our priorities and our habits,
Yeah.
even how we're influenced by what we see online these days, like
I
all
love
these
this.
different things.
Yeah. So this Etekcity scale has like every unit of measurement under the sun.
Oh, yeah.
Ounces, pounds, grams, milliliters, even fluid ounces.
Wow.
Does that seem a little over the top to you, or is that just what you'd expect in the kitchen scale these days?
I mean, it really shows how much cooking has changed.
Right.
Like, think about it. People are baking sourdough with super precise gram measurements,
Yeah.
and then other people are like watching their portion sizes in ounces or even tracking their water intake in milliliters. It's all about precision and, customizing everything to your own needs.
Yeah, totally.
It's very interesting.
And speaking of precision,
Yeah.
this scale is accurate down to 1 gram.
Wow.
That's got to be important for certain types of cooking, right?
Oh, yeah.
I'm picturing like delicate pastries or
Mhm.
maybe measuring out ingredients for some crazy science experiment gone wrong.
Well, hopefully not gone wrong.
Yeah, I mean,
It
delicious.
shouldn't too far off, though. I mean, that level of accuracy is like crucial for baking,
Okay.
especially when you're working with recipes that use weight instead of volume.
Right.
Like a tiny difference in the amount of flour or yeast you use can totally make or break a loaf of bread.
Yeah, that's true.
And it also, appeals to that whole trend of like dietary tracking where every single gram counts.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
People are really paying attention to that these days.
Yeah, totally. But, okay, let's be real for a sec.
Okay.
It's not always about like meticulously measuring everything, right?
Right.
Sometimes you just want that package like on your doorstep.
Yeah.
ASAP.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
And this product page is just plastered with Amazon Prime trial offers.
Oh, yeah. It's everywhere.
It's everywhere.
It's so interesting how like ingrained that instant gratification has become
Totally.
in our shopping habits these days. We're just like conditioned to expect things so quickly.
Yeah.
And companies know that,
Yeah, for sure. They've got us figured out.
they do.
But I mean, do you think that convenience always comes at a cost?
It's a good question.
Like, do we end up buying things we don't need just because they're a click and a Prime delivery away?
I mean, that's probably a deep dive for another day.
Yeah, probably.
That's a good thought.
Yeah, but while we're talking about like conscious consumer choices,
Yes,
did you notice how they highlight that ships in product packaging option?
I did.
Like, what do you make of that?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think it's a really smart move by Amazon.
Okay.
Tapping into that whole growing consumer demand for sustainable practices.
Yeah, for sure.
They're even quoting a statistic about how they've reduced packaging weight by like a whopping 41% since 2015,
Wow.
which is over 2 million tons of packaging material saved.
2 million tons.
Yeah,
That's actually pretty impressive when you think about it.
it is.
It makes you think about like the collective impact of just these small changes.
Oh, absolutely. Like if everybody does just a little bit,
Yeah.
it really adds up.
Yeah. Okay. So now let's talk about like the elephant in the room, or should I say the mountain of reviews.
Yeah, right.
Over 168,000.
Wow.
It's like everyone and their grandma has weighed in on this Etekcity scale.
It's amazing.
It's insane.
It really shows the power of social proof,
Yeah.
in like how we make decisions. Like
Yeah.
we tend to trust the experiences of other people,
Right.
especially when we're online and faced with like a million different choices.
So true.
It can be really overwhelming.
Yeah. And I mean, would you buy a scale with only a handful of reviews?
Probably not.
Probably not.
You'd be a little hesitant, I think.
Yeah, for sure. But here's the thing. I scrolled through some of these reviews.
Yeah.
And it's not just a bunch of like 5 stars great scale comment.
Right.
People are getting specific.
Oh, really?
They're talking about how it fits perfectly in their tiny apartment or how they use it to like portion out snacks,
Wow.
even how easy it is to clean.
That's a really good point.
Yeah.
Because those personal anecdotes make it so much more tangible and relatable.
Yeah, totally.
It goes beyond just a simple star rating, It creates the sense of community around the product.
Oh, for sure.
Like you're joining a club of satisfied Etekcity scale owners.
Exactly. You're not just buying a scale, you're
Yeah.
buying into a lifestyle.
Exactly.
Like a whole thing.
I love that.
I even saw one customer, Juliana Dawson, raving about their customer service experience.
Oh, wow.
Like, how cool is that?
That's great.
Yeah.
That really speaks volumes about building brand loyalty, you know?
Yeah.
Good customer service can turn a one-time buyer into like a repeat customer,
Yeah,
even a brand advocate
for sure.
who tells all their friends about it.
Right.
And let's not forget this Etekcity scale is the #1 bestseller in digital kitchen scales.
Wow.
So it's clearly resonating with a lot of people.
Yeah, it's a popular one.
It is.
But even with all those glowing reviews,
Yeah.
there's always that little voice in the back of your head
Mm-hmm.
that's like, is there something better out there?
Right.
And wouldn't you know it, Amazon has that covered too.
Of course they
They have a
might.
whole section dedicated to like frequently bought together items
Yeah.
and similar items.
Mm-hmm.
So
It's brilliant.
it is brilliant.
Really, by showcasing all these like complementary products and similar options,
Right.
they're tapping into that fear of missing out that we all have.
The FOMO.
The FOMO, exactly.
Yeah, but doesn't that also lead to people buying things that they don't actually need?
It's a good question.
I mean, I'm all for a good bread proofing basket,
Yeah.
but do I really need it just because it pops up next to the scale I'm looking at?
That's the question, isn't it?
Yeah.
Are we being manipulated by all these clever marketing tactics?
Right.
Or are we just like taking advantage of the convenience and options that are available to us?
Right.
It's a very blurry line.
It's a blurry line for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really is. Like we're playing a game and Amazon's got all the cheat codes.
Mm-hmm.
Can you resist that add to cart button when you see that perfect little collection of like baking accessories right there?
So tempting.
It's so tempting.
Just one click.
I know, speaking of resisting,
Yeah.
I did manage to tear myself away from those tempting suggestions long enough to check out some of the similar items.
Okay.
There are a lot of contenders vying for your attention out there.
Oh, yeah.
We've got the Ozeri Pronto, the Amazon Basic Scale, the Nice Well. It's a whole scalibration out there.
I love that.
Okay.
And that's the point, isn't it?
Right.
They want you to feel like you're really comparing all the options,
Yeah.
making like the most informed decision possible. But it also plays into that anxiety of like, did I pick the right one?
Right.
Is there a better deal out there?
Are the paradox of choice. It's real.
It is.
So how do you cut through all the noise?
That's the tough part.
Yeah, I mean, each of these scales has its own, like, selling points.
They do.
The Aravari boasts a sleek design. The Amazon Basic scale focuses on affordability. The Nicewell highlights its extra features.
Right. It's a lot to consider.
It's enough to make your head spin.
For sure.
So, like, where do you even start?
I think you have to ask yourself, what are your priorities?
Okay.
Like, are you looking for just the most budget-friendly option?
Right.
Or do you need a scale that can handle large volumes or heavy ingredients?
Okay.
Is design a major factor for you?
Okay.
Or maybe you're swayed by that Amazon's Choice badge and like the sheer volume of positive reviews.
Right. It's like that little gold star is just calling to you.
It is shiny.
It's very shiny.
Very persuasive.
So it's not just about the features themselves. It's about how those features align with your individual needs and like even maybe your personality.
Yeah, totally.
Like, are you the type of person who meticulously measures every single ingredient?
Mm-hmm.
Or someone who prefers a more intuitive approach in the kitchen?
I think that's a really good distinction because I think a lot of people don't think about that.
Right.
And that's where those reviews can be so insightful.
Yeah.
They give you like a glimpse into how real people are using the product.
Totally.
What they love about it, what they find frustrating.
For sure.
It's almost like you're having a conversation
Yeah.
with hundreds of other home cooks
Yeah.
before you make your decision.
It's like crowdsourced advice for the digital age.
Exactly.
But even with all this information at our fingertips, do you ever feel like we're losing the ability to just trust our gut?
That's a good question.
Like, it's one thing to consider all the reviews and compare all the features.
Yeah.
But at some point, don't you have to just go with your instincts?
It's a delicate balance.
Right, because we want to make informed choices, but we also don't want to get bogged down in analysis paralysis.
Right.
So maybe the real takeaway here isn't just about finding like the perfect kitchen scale,
Yeah.
but it's about developing a more mindful approach to our consumption habits in general.
I like that.
Just being more aware.
Yeah. So as we're wrapping up this deep dive into the world of digital kitchen scales, what's the one thing you hope our listeners will take away from all of this?
I think the key is to remember that you're in control.
Okay.
You have the power to decide what matters to you, what features you want to prioritize,
Yeah.
what ultimately makes you feel good about your purchase.
Okay.
Don't let the overwhelming amount of information dictate your choices.
Right.
Use it as a tool to empower your decision-making.
Beautifully said. I love that.
Thank you.
So next time you're facing that wall of product options online,
Yes.
remember to breathe, consider your needs, and maybe even trust your gut a little.
Absolutely.
And hey, if all else fails, there's always that mountain of reviews to guide you.
Always.
Right.
It's a good resource.
It's kind of funny, we started out talking about this really simple kitchen scale,
Yeah.
and somehow we ended up exploring like everything from sustainability to the psychology of online shopping.
I know, right?
It's crazy.
It just goes to show that even the most everyday objects
Right.
can reveal a lot about our values and our habits and how we interact with the world around us.
Totally. It's like this Etekcity scale is like a tiny little microcosm
Yeah.
of the modern consumer experience.
Yeah.
Like we're bombarded with choices.
Sure.
We're influenced by all these marketing tactics.
Right.
And we're constantly seeking validation through reviews and
Yeah.
social proof.
Yeah. It's a lot.
It's exhausting.
It is.
But I guess it's also an opportunity.
Yeah.
Like by becoming more aware of all these influences,
Mm-hmm.
we can actually make more conscious choices that align with our own values.
Absolutely.
We can choose to prioritize sustainability,
Yeah.
support brands that resonate with us,
Right.
maybe even resist the urge to buy that bread-proofing basket we don't really need.
I mean, that's the goal, right?
That is the goal,
To be more mindful
to be mindful.
about all of it.
Yeah, so maybe that's the real deep dive here.
Okay.
Not just into the features of a kitchen scale,
Yeah.
but like into ourselves as consumers.
Interesting.
Like what are our priorities?
Uh-huh.
What influences our decisions?
Right.
And how can we navigate this whole complex landscape in a way that feels both empowering and authentic?
That's a good question.
Yeah, it's a big one.
It is, and it goes way beyond this product page.
Totally.
Like, this is something we can all keep thinking about as we make choices big and small in our lives.
Yeah, for sure. So as you continue your kitchen scale quest,
Yes.
just remember to keep asking those questions like, what matters to you?
Mm-hmm.
What makes you feel good about your purchases?
Right.
And how can you use all the information that's out there to make choices that reflect your own unique values and needs?
I think that's great advice.
Yeah, and maybe, just maybe, that journey of self-discovery will be the most rewarding part of the whole experience.
Absolutely. I totally agree.
So we hope this deep dive has given you some food for thought, pun intended.
Of course.
Until next time, happy weighing, everyone.